In my previous videos, I presented irrefutable evidence of life after death and explained where we go afterward. I also clarified the true nature of dreams and revealed the tragic consequences faced by those who take their own lives after death. Additionally, I shared some of the many NDE stories I have gathered over more than 20 years of researching the phenomenon of death and existence beyond the material body. If you haven't watched them yet, I encourage you to click on my channel name in the video tab, where you'll find all the content I've created so far. In this episode, I will attempt to answer another question that you often ask me in emails. That question is, why does God allow the evil that surrounds us? Is He punishing us for something? Let's begin. Many people wonder why there is so much evil and suffering in the world, and why God, as the symbol of omnipotence and love, seems to permit it all. Alongside this question often comes the belief that God may be punishing us for something. To address this, we need to examine our understanding of God, the nature of reality, and the role of free will. Many people envision God as a personal being, a bearded king sitting on a heavenly throne, closely observing our actions and ready to reward or punish us. However, this perception is oversimplified and stems more from cultural or religious traditions than from deep spiritual reflection. The true nature of God is far more complex. God is everything that exists, and at the same time, everything is God. He is not a separate being outside the universe, but the entirety of creation, permeating every aspect of it. God is the omnipresent energy that drives the universe, the foundation of existence and its manifestation. In this understanding, God cannot be a judging or punishing entity, as He exists beyond the duality of good and evil, a concept that only exists in our perception of reality. When people have spiritual visions or encounter immaterial beings while out of their physical bodies, they may encounter entities claiming to be God. However, in most cases, none of them are truly God. In non-material realms, there are many entities, some of which aim to help and others that seek to manipulate humans for their own purposes. If any being claims to be God and simultaneously demands obedience, instills fear, or threatens punishment, it is undoubtedly not the true God. The true God, being the entirety of existence, does not judge, punish, or demand obedience. Any entity that attempts to judge or punish us is a manipulator, trying to coerce us into certain actions. Such spiritual imposters exploit our fears and lack of understanding to achieve their goals. If God does not punish, then where does the suffering and hardship we experience come from? The answer lies partly in the so-called law of karma, which operates as a natural, automatic mechanism in this world. It works such that every thought, word, and action of ours has specific consequences that return to us. When we send evil into the world through harming others, dishonesty, or hatred, those energies return to us as suffering. Similarly, when we live with love, kindness, and harmony, we attract the same positive energies into our lives. It is not God who determines what happens to us, but the automatic workings of this world. There is no judgment or deliberate punishment here. What returns to us is merely a reflection of our own actions and thoughts. This way, we experience the consequences of our deeds and learn responsibility for our decisions. Often people ask why God allows the existence of evil. A key element of the answer is free will, which God granted us as conscious beings. God, as the entirety of creation, gave us the ability to make choices, both good and bad. It is up to us to decide whether we act with love or with selfishness and hatred. By granting us free will, God does not interfere with our decisions or their consequences. The world we currently live in, which I call the world of suffering, was intentionally designed to generate situations that cause pain, frustration, and a sense of injustice daily. This structure was created so that beings who came here from the true home, where suffering does not exist, could experience it firsthand. We often blame ourselves, and especially others, for making wrong choices in certain situations. However, we forget, or in most cases are unaware, that the configuration of the world of suffering continuously generates events that require immense inner strength to act righteously in a given situation. The difficulty level of these events increases as we manage to deal with them without committing evil. Very few beings living here can handle every situation without generating evil, either through action or thought. Therefore, we should show more compassion to ourselves and others. If someone commits evil, it means they have lost the battle against an event generated by the world of suffering, and sooner or later, that evil will return to them. Hence, we should demonstrate significantly more compassion toward others and ourselves. I also often hear that the challenging events we experience are sent by God to test us. Again, this misconception stems from an incorrect image of God. If anyone can be accused of sending us unpleasant or challenging situations, it is the creators and managers of the world of suffering in which we currently reside. However, the majority of these difficult events result from our own wrongful actions, which return to us through the law of karma. Moreover, the most transformative events are often ones we include in our life plan before incarnating. To conclude, the question of why God allows evil often arises from the incorrect image of God as a personal being who punishes us for our sins. In reality, God is the entirety of existence, and we experience evil and suffering primarily due to the workings of the karmic mechanism, which is a neutral law of the universe. The free will we are granted allows us to make choices, and the consequences of those choices teach us responsibility. We should not blame God for our suffering or seek Him as a judge who punishes us. Instead, it is worth focusing on understanding the principles governing this world and working on ourselves. If you feel overwhelmed by daily suffering, it may be a sign that it is time, after this incarnation, to return to where we all came from, the true home. If you want to learn how to achieve this and delve into the subject of life after death, I encourage you to explore my publication. In it, I have compiled all the knowledge about existence beyond the material body that I have gained through 20 years of research and personal experiences during my journeys beyond the body. You can find the link to the book in the description below the video. That's all for today. Thank you for being here, and see you next time.